What's up, hockey fans and hockey fanatics out there? Welcome to the Hockey Lounge, episode 1818. It is Thursday, July 22nd, 9 p.m., and we are rocking the lounge with triplets this week, 3 times in a row, live 9 p.m. tonight. We are going to be talking about the updates in the NHL today, transactions that went down. The Seattle Kraken roster is finally done. We're going to be analyzing the forwards, the defense, the goaltending, and of course, the big night is tomorrow night in the NHL, the NHL Draft 2021. We're going to be discussing the top 10 projected players to get drafted tomorrow night, and it's a big night for those youngsters. I'm sure they're all giddy and excited to put that jersey on. I know that, if you're a minor hockey league player and you've played your whole life waiting for that big day to get drafted, to hear your name, get out there, put that jersey on, put that cap on. It's a big moment for those players and the families. But tonight we have my wingman. He is back again. Apple. I think he was on vacay last podcast. We'll see if he's ready tonight. Apple, what's going on, big guy?
Oh, buddy. How are you, man? Hello, everyone.
Good. All right. So let's talk first about TFC. Apple, you went last night, right?
I'm at every game.
Every game. So I didn't even look at the score. How was the atmosphere? Who won last night?
They finished 1-1. Great atmosphere. Even with 15,000, only half the building, it was still pretty loud. I heard a lot of people talking in the stadium, and they said it was great to be back, and it was. It felt great to be back. Finally going to a live sporting event was fantastic.
For sure. I think, I saw for opening night or the first night they had fans. They were pretty rowdy. They had the smoke going. Those TFC fans look pretty giddy and pretty wild. So always good to see. And like you said, going to a live sporting event. The Jays soon to have fans in-house as well. They're going to have about 15,000 in the Rogers Center. So excited to see the Jays come back to TO and start hitting some balls. I know you're a White Sox fan, but they reek. Go Jays. Anyways. So some of the transactions that went down today, Apple, interesting stuff. We were just talking about the crazy, transactions with just trading picks for basically nothing here, right? Yeah. So we had today we had some transactions happen in which, the 1 o'clock, lift of transactions was lifted at 1 p.m. today after the expansion draft took place last night. What's funny about the expansion draft is, we were texting each other yesterday throughout the day, and the roster was leaked.
Yeah, I told you. At 8 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, they had to be. I think the Detroit Red Wing pick was the only one that wasn't leaked by airtime. Right.
So all these guys, all these jabronis, right? Seattle, I think Sean Kemp, I think did they have Marshawn Lynch as well? Marshawn Lynch. They had all these guys announcing who was coming on. They were coming out with the jersey, whatnot. But the team was already picked. We already knew who was coming out, right? Yep. Then you have these jabronis, announce these guys' names. They don't even know how to say the hockey players' names, right? It was like, what is this, man? Is this the beginning of TNT and ESPN? Like, come on.
Yep.
Right?
I agree with you. Of all the guys you give Marshawn Lynch to announce, Ali Yarncroke.
I can't even say that, man. Right? So it's just I don't know. I get to me, man, all these shows that the NHL try to put on, the NHL award show, man, it's just cheese. Like it's the draft is the best, of course, because that's their thing. They really take pride in getting that draft, to a key. They have the analysts on, and all those analysts are great. The one thing I wanted to bring up with you, Up, is Frank Seravalli taking some big heat last night in the media world here, that because he was supposedly the big leak of the Seattle expansion team. It looks like they might even do an investigation into the NHLPA and the NHL registry, how this information got leaked out because of the show that they had last night.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Well, I know. Well, he wanted his name out there as being the guy that broke all the news and everything like that. And this is what you get.
Yeah, but he still doesn't know that, this is what, your third, fourth time on the show that you're coming for him. So, the Hockey Lounge now has an insider. His name is Apple. So watch out, Frank Saravalli. So
thanks, Nick.
Yeah. So you have so I think one of the biggest trades today, Alex Nedeljkovic going from the Hurricanes to the Red Wings for Jonathan Bernier and a 2021 third-round draft pick. What are your thoughts on that? I think Stevie Y, that master plan might be starting here.
Yeah, I think Carolina had their hands forced with this one too, because I believe that they had to qualify Nedeljkovic, and then they were worried that it was going to go to arbitration. Mm-hmm. And since he was a Calder finalist last year, they must have figured that the arbitrator would have given him a big raise, and they were going to have a hard time fitting him in. So they tried to get what they could, and what they got was Jonathan Bernier. He was supposed to leave the Leafs about 8 years ago.
Yeah. So, but I think, like, you saw what Delkovich did in the playoffs, yep. And I think he's going to be. I think he's got some talent, and I like the move by Stevie Y. You've said it. You see Marty Brodeur behind you there. You start from the back end to start a franchise. They need to start getting it going. They got some youth there. They need to start getting some wins and some confidence under their belt. So I think it's a good move. Tipu's back again. Man, what a loyal watcher. But he wants to hammer App with this one. So we'll put this out. Soccer. I thought this was a sports show. Soccer's not a sport. Bang! Teeple, double shot power to you, buddy, for that one. Love you, Teeps, for that.
I don't know if you saw what happened a week and a bit ago in Market Lane. I think there's a lot of sports fans that were pretty happy that day.
Yeah, you know what? Italy won the Euros, but I'm sure we all know that those Italian flags have come down now. The Leaf flags are up now, and go Leafs, go.
Well, one championship out of two isn't bad for these people.
He also says it wasn't him, Frank Saravalli. It was Elliot Friedman leaking. So it might have been Elliot. You know what? There was tweets all day yesterday. You had Saravalli, you had Friedman, you had LeBron, Traeger, right?
Johnson was leaking as well.
Yeah, Chris John. Yeah, so a lot of stuff coming out. I saw an Instagram post that it had all those guys on an Instagram thing, and it said they just ruined the expansion draft. So it was quite a post, right? So
yeah. I don't think ESPN is very happy.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But Christopher Tipu's watching again. What's up, Chris? Hope you're having a good night, bud. So let me just take that comment off there. All right, so we got 7 viewers in the lounge tonight. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to drill Apple, he's waiting. He is now officially, if you just got on, he is the Hockey Lounge insider. If you see him reach for his phone, he might be getting a call from Dom. Maybe he has some information on the Leafs, maybe.
Or it could be Fitzgerald asking me what I think of something.
There you go. Then you have Gostisbehere going to the Coyotes, and we were talking about this trade. No return. Yep. For Gostisbehere, 2022 second round pick, 2022 7th round pick, and basically they got a bag of pucks for that. What are your thoughts on Gostisbehere? I still think he's got some juice left in him.
I agree with you. A couple of years ago, they thought really highly of this guy, and now just to get rid of him plus picks for nothing.
Yeah.
Unless they just dump the salary because they've got another move coming in behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've heard other rumors as well that they want to make some moves, the Flyers, but it's a little bit of head shaker for me. I didn't expect Gostisbehere to go for nothing. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, well, I think with Ryan Ellis, coming on the weekend, that made Gostisbehere expandable. It's time for him to go. So, and he's been whispered for the last couple of years. Flyers are not really happy with him. But what's amazing to me is a player like that, when he first came into the league the first couple of years, people were talking about him being like a Norris candidate, defenseman. Really great on the power play. Still think he's got some stuff left. Maybe a different scenery, different jersey. Maybe he brings a different game. So hopefully he does for the Arizona Coyotes because, they need to, again, sort of have a soft rebuild with Tocchet now, new GM, new coach happening there. And then,
sorry, Nick, going on your point, maybe the smaller market Arizona, maybe too much pressure in Philly because Philly's a hockey crazy town. Might do the trick for him.
For sure. A little desert sun does everybody good, right? Like, look at the time you got. So there you go, right? And then my cousin there, Kramer got involved in a few texts with me this afternoon. The Tyler Pitlick trade from Seattle to Calgary, and Seattle got a 4th round draft pick, 2022. This Pitlick kid, I believe he played in Arizona, I believe it was. Yeah. I think he looked like a pretty good forward. So I think that's a pretty good silent pickup by the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, they're projected right now apparently to use him on the 3rd line. So yeah, he's definitely a useful player. It's I think for a 3rd round pick, I think it was definitely a good pickup.
Right. I think this is one of App's followers, maybe. What do you think?
Could be.
Says, hey guys, want to get your thoughts on the Kraken lineup. To me, this is definitely not a playoff bound roster. I think their defense is more stronger than their offense and goalies. So perfect segue to what we're going to talk about now, the Seattle Kraken. And we'll get into that. He also has a great one there. I love this one too, coming for you. Love the Tony Apple Soprano guest. So that's a first one. All right.
I've been called that many times before. And one Halloween, I actually just put on a fedora and a cigar, and I went as Tony Soprano.
For sure. If you're not going to hit the subscribe button below, Apple does have a Baranic device at home. He will be measuring your feet if you don't like this episode. So, but that being said, the Seattle Kraken was picked last night. Let me pull up the cap friendly, get that roster up here. And we were talking about this before the show. Interesting picks. You mentioned something to me on your thoughts on the overall roster. And then we're going to dissect into the forwards, the defense, the goalies. And we'll talk about that. So first off, your first thoughts looking at the Seattle roster.
I think they could have done better. There were some other players. I know they didn't really go for any of the big guys. I think as constructed now, I don't think they're a playoff team as well. I think they might fight for one. I don't think they make it. But you don't know what Ron Francis has up his sleeve either. I'm sure there's more moves to come because they do have $29 million of cap space left. So there's got to be more moves coming because, as the viewer said, they are stronger on the back end. Forwards right now, they struggle. We'll go in more into that shortly. But yeah, I agree with the viewer. I don't think they're a playoff team right now. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I definitely think it's not a roster that you look at and you say they're going to make a playoff run or they're going to get into the playoffs. I think that, you look at the Vegas draft from 2018, you look at that roster that was first drafted. I wasn't wowed by it, but with moves that George McVie made, got that roster they got first round draft picks. They got Tuck, they got some Theodore, they got some guys after that draft that really made that team go. Surprising that, they went with these 2 goaltenders, but we'll get to that in a second here. Just before we get into the Kraken roster, Teeps just has a question for us in the lounge. What do you guys think about Bergeron basically announcing Shea Weber's retirement? Teeps, I'll give you my answer and then App, you can go here. But I honestly think this is a Kucherov move on Montreal's part. I think Mr. Weber will be back to play hockey, and you'll probably see him in the new year. That's my thought on that. App?
100% agree. That's exactly where I was going with that. It smells of Kucherov all over it.
Yeah, for sure. So I think what they're doing right now, Teeps, is they're just playing the game where he's got ankle injuries, knee injuries, all these types of injuries. They'll let him rest. He is a vet. He's never been that far in the playoffs before. Wear and tear on the bodies. He had some injuries during the playoffs, and they'll save him up for maybe the new year and maybe go on another playoff run if they make the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. Sorry, Habs fans. All right, the Seattle Kraken. So 9 forwards were picked last night. They have a salary on 25 million, just over 25.4 million, 9 forwards in terms of salary in the front end. And I'll go over the first 4 or 5 players up. Your thoughts on Everly, Gord, Donskoy. I call him Donkey because we played against him in the Stanley Cup Finals a few years back. My boy, Brandon Tanev. Again, another Penguin, Jared McCann. What are your thoughts on those guys?
So Yanni Gord's going to miss about 4 months because he just had surgery.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt him a little bit at the beginning, but I think he's a good player. And Donskoy as well. I really like Donskoy. Eberle, you really don't know what you're going to get. He played well on the island, but at his age, you don't know what you're going to get. He's got 3 years, including this year, left on his contract. I really love Tanev. I was honestly surprised that Pittsburgh left him exposed. I thought Pittsburgh would have kept him. He's a gritty player. If they do get in the playoffs, the Kraken, he's probably going to be a big asset as far as he likes to throw his weight around. I'm sure, Nick, you know more about him than I do because I'm not watching no Penguins games. But
no.
My impressions.
Yeah, listen, the guy is definitely, third, fourth liner. He's going to give you everything you have. He's going to skate through the wall for you. I think the issue there with that player there is he's 3.5, and that contract goes till 24, 25. And he's 29 right now. So, maybe to give up some salary. And then you have Jared McCann, which, again, I think it's a nice pickup. What are your thoughts on McCann?
Yeah, I agree with you. He's a pretty good pickup. He's another guy that you'd know more than I do, but he's a pretty steady NHL player.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll definitely make that lineup for sure.
Yeah, and you have what I like about those first 5 players is Gord's going to be hurt, yeah, but Everly can play in the top 6, and then you have Donskoy, you have Tanev and McCann. Those are definitely some third line players that you can put together, and then you have Kelly Yarncroke, Mason Appleton, Nathan Bassiston. I like him. Colin Blackwell. I know you hate the Rangers but. Man, he showed I liked his game last season. And then you have Carson Twarynski, I believe, Twarynski. You have him as well. So that wraps up the forwards. What are your thoughts on those final 5 there?
Depth players. Bastian's another guy like Tanev.
Yeah.
He's cheap. They took him from the Devils. I saw a lot of him. He's a rough go-get-him guy. He's going to get his nose dirty and do the dirty work. You're right. I can't stand the just a crap across the Hudson, but Colin Blackwell did impress me in the games that I've seen when we played them last year. So well, I think it's a pretty steady lineup. Like you said, the top guys you can rely on for NHL for NHL worth. The bottom guys are there to round them off, but I still see them making moves. Like I think they've got to add to this. I don't think this is.
I agree. When I look at this, these forwards, this roster of forwards is an expansion team. You look like a San Jose back in the day, Atlanta, like these teams here, like it looks like an expansion draft to me right now, right? So I guess we got, I guess it's Bella Tidbits. I guess that's what he wants to be called. Is that your buddy there? He's commenting, your buddy. He says you look like Soprano here. I think he's your fan there. Is he a Bruins fan?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he is.
Okay, there you go. So thoughts on Hall, 4 years with the Mighty Bruins. Well, listen, I really appreciate you viewing us tonight, but I'm going to tell you something there, bud. Not anywhere Mr. Hall goes, they lose. So I wouldn't have touched him with a 10-foot pole, to be honest with you. But, it is what it is, and hopefully your Bruins. I personally like the Bruins in terms of the way they play. I like their coach. I like Marc Bergevin. Patrice Bergeron. I like Brad Marchand. A lot of good Brandon Carlo. A lot of good players there. I really like the Bruins and their style. You can always count on them to make the playoffs, but not a fan of Hull. App, what are your thoughts there?
Not at $6 million. Not at $6 million. I think if you could have got him for 4, he might be worth the gamble. When he plays, he plays well. But when when the chips are there, he doesn't seem to do much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think to me, $6 million is pretty rich.
Yeah. So he's still chirping you. So he says that was with the Devils. So
He won an MVP with the Devils.
yeah.
That's when he had, because he had good players around him then. Now he's going to Boston. He doesn't.
All right. The Bruins. Okay. Yeah, so there you go. A good point. He just made another good point. So he's saying, I agree too much. He's also a feather. Yeah, for sure. Right. So, but I got to give him, he did play well though for the Bruins in the stretch run in the playoffs. So we'll see what he does there. Maybe that scenery might bring out the best in him like he was in Jersey. And they should be a playoff team. And we'll see if he can continue some of the success he had in the playoffs.
And he also went to Boston midway through the season too. Maybe that half year he's getting used to the organization, getting used to the team, the routine. Maybe next year he has a fantastic team.
Yeah, for sure.
It's possible.
He's got the talent. You can't deny that, man.
Yeah.
So the Seattle Kraken defense, $21.1 million. I do like their D. I think they did a pretty good job with this draft here, coming out of the gates. Mark Giordano, Jamie Olesniak, Adam Larson, which you know all about, Carson Saucy or Susi, I like to call him Saucy, and Hayden Fleury. Your thoughts on that lineup there?
They did a pretty good job building the defensive core. We all had Alexiak in our mock GM thing a couple of weeks ago, and
yeah,
Giordano's a leader. If he stays there, he's a leader. I think Adam Larson's a bit slow for the NHL level. That's my personal opinion, and I think Carson Soucy's going to be a good young defenseman. But I think the key here is them getting Vince Dunn signed, because I think that adds now a fifth defenseman plus Hayden Fleury's a sixth.
Right.
That's pretty well. I think their defense core with those six guys are pretty well set.
Right. I even like the Bruins fan tidbits there. I like Jeremy Lauzon. I think he's a good hockey player, young guy. Just couldn't find a fit there in Boston because their D are pretty steady from 1 to 6. So that was a good pickup as well. And then you finish off that D with William Bourgain, and then you have Dennis Cholowski. So that is your D. So Lauzon, Dunn, Bourgain, or Cholowski. What are your thoughts on those? You just talked about Vince Dunn, but
yeah, I don't think Borgen or Cholowski are going to be on this team. I'm looking at the defense as a whole, and they got 7 NHL defensemen. So I got to be thinking somebody's got to be moving. I'm wondering if somebody's willing to pay the price for somebody like Giordano, and for them to go ahead and trade him, because you got Giordano, Alexiak, Larson, Soucy, Hayden, Lauzon, and Dunn. You got 7 NHL defensemen right there.
Yeah. And like we talked about prior to getting on here, the Rangers talking about making a trade maybe with Seattle. Ryan Strome from the Rangers going for Mark Giordano. So that could possibly happen. But it's going to be a pretty insane next 72 hours in the NHL. I think we're going to see movement tomorrow night. I think we'll see movement on Saturday and Sunday. Teams are setting themselves up for free agent frenzy next Wednesday. And, man, I'm a big fan of that. It's like Christmas Eve, the night before free agency, because you get a new toy to play with and to cheer for the next day if your team does make the right move. And we will be on air live next Wednesday for free agent frenzy. Apple will be on. We'll have maybe 1 or 2 more guests. We'll be going over the day of action, 9 p.m. next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a fun episode for sure. And then goalies. Combined $4.2 million goalies right now. We talked about this the other night, the deal for Chris Drager, $3.5 million for 3 years. And then I like this pickup, Vitek Vanacek, 25 years old, $716,000 for a decent goalie to back up. He is an RFA in 22-23. What are your thoughts on the goalies?
I agree with you 100%. I think Dredger will be the number 1 goalie to start, but I agree with you. I saw Vanacek play a lot with with Washington, and I think he's going to get he's going to push him. I think he's going to push Dredger for that number 1 spot. So I think they are pretty good at net, and it didn't cost them that much.
Uh-oh. She's back. It's Momo. She's back for her second episode. There she is.
Say hi, Momo.
Momo is back. Oh, dog, you got some competition, man. I'm telling you, she was back. All right. So that is your Seattle Kraken, but they have $30 million left in the bank here, App. I think Ronnie Francis is gonna be busy the next week or so.
Yeah, I think the expansion draft and then being last night, or mainly they did a lot of their business yesterday, and the actual NHL draft tomorrow. I think it's a bit compact. It puts them at a little bit of a disadvantage because I think Vegas had a lot more time because everything got compacted this year. So
yeah,
I think he's got to act quick to get his picks and makes his trades because he doesn't have much time. But yeah, he's got to have something up his sleeve.
So Tidbits is at it again. He says bets Kraken. I'll just put that on the board for you to see. So bets Kraken first game, win or lose. So good again. This guy, do you want to be our producer because you're giving us good segues here to get into our different topics here tonight. So we're just going to go over here. The NHL schedule was released tonight, viewers, fans of the NHL. I'm excited. Apple's excited. We've been talking about this offline here because it's July 22nd and we're talking about NHL hockey already and the beginning of the season, which is phenomenal because, I'm missing that hockey watching every night here. But let me just I'm going to bring up the schedule here, guys, for opening night. Just give me one sec. All right. Just having a little bit of complications here with technology right now, but.
And Nick, on the first night you got Pittsburgh.
Okay,
and Tampa.
Thank you. Yeah.
The first night you got Pittsburgh and Tampa, and Seattle and Vegas.
Seattle and Vegas. So we want to know what your thoughts are on. First off, I just want to say it's the league is starting off with the two best teams in hockey, the Penguins and the Lightning. The last two teams to go back to back. You just have to admit that. We can move forward from there.
Yeah, we'll call it. We'll start with the also Rans and build up to the real teams. I'll call it that way.
Okay, so we have the Seattle Kraken and the Vegas Knights, the two last. Well, Seattle new and the last expansion team to come into the NHL. Who are you taking?
Oh, Vegas is going to smash them.
Oh, Vegas is going to smash them. All right, so
that might change on next week's show. We'll see. Right now, the way the teams are constituted, Vegas is going to smash them.
All right, okay. So right now, as of 9/28 on the 22nd, Vegas is going to smash them. We'll see on the 28th what Apple thinks on that, right? Yeah. And then the next night, we have, of course, what Canada wants to see. We have the Canadiens and Leafs. We have the Hawks and Avalanche. We have the Rangers and Caps, and we have the Canucks and the Oilers. So for sure, doubleheader night. Again, we love doubleheaders in the lounge. Hockey all the time. All right, Leafs news. And again, we know we have a lot of Leaf viewers that watch. There was an interesting comment by Kyle Doofus. Okay, there you go. I like that. There we go. We're in sync here. All right. So Kyle Doofus. Let's see what he had to say today. Just give me 1 second. Getting to it right now. All right. So Mr. Doofus had to say today, and he was on overdrive. He said, for better or worse, sounds like a marriage, I believe in this group. I believe that they're going to win. I'm willing to bet everything on it. So, App, you made a comment before we got on the show about Kyle Doofus because he's betting everything on it. What's he betting?
So, those people that they just arrested at Lamport Stadium yesterday? That's where he's going to be living this time next year if he's betting everything on it. They're not going nowhere with that team the way they are. Him and Shanahan are going to be out of a job at this time next year.
Right. So again, I like. I believe it was Mark. I think it was Mark Rowe and Gord Miller were interviewing Doofus today, Kyle Dubas, and I was watching Gord Miller's face, and he was like, he was shocked. He's a white guy. He was going whiter as the interview was going on because, like he said, he asked like Jack Campbell played he hasn't played more than a certain number of games in the NHL, and you're not telling me that you're not going after a number one goalie. You're going with the same roster. Like, come on. Like I said to you, after the before we got on here and after the interview, I heard him like Kyle Dubas is probably the most arrogant GM out there that hasn't won anything. He won a Calder Cup, a big deal. Like, he hasn't done anything yet to show that he's a real general manager of an NHL team, and he's got all that money tied up with 4 forwards. And that's going to be the end all for the Leafs, unfortunately. But that's a little bit of Leaf news. We always want to dive into a couple different things here. Again, Tibbetts scoops in here. He says Dubas has got to go. So I agree with you with that. All right, so the NHL Draft 2021 tomorrow night. Big night for the youngsters, getting that ball cap, getting that jersey. The list has been out for a little while. Sportsnet, Sammy Cos had a list out last week. Love Sam Cosentino. Great for any type of CHL, any type of OHL news, WHLQ. He's the guy. He's the guy that knows stuff about these guys coming up. But we also got Apple again. He's been doing his research, his homework on this top 10. So if you're picking number 1 tomorrow night, and you've done your research on these players, who does the number 1 pick go to?
I'm taking Owen Power to go to Buffalo, the defenseman out of Michigan. The guy's 6'5", 214 pounds. He's massive. He's a great skater. Like, I went and watched video on a lot of these guys to see what they look like, because everybody had the shortened season last year with COVID. OHL shut down, WHL shut down. I mean, he's got a shoot first mentality as a defenseman. He moves the puck. His first pass out of the zone is phenomenal, and his hockey IQ is off the charts. For me, he projects to be a franchise caliber defenseman for a long time, and I just hope the Sabres don't ruin another one.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that team. Like,
yeah,
like even Dahlin, you have Eichel, you have Reinhart. They've had some high picks, but man, the results are just not there with that team.
So
what do you got?
Yeah. So again, I'm going to start on the back end. You got to go with the best player in the top 10 is Owen Power, I believe. And again, you got to start with your D and your goaltending or whatnot. My thing is this with the Buffalo Sabres, right? Like, you have, like you said, Dahlin, you have Ristolainen, right? You add Power to the lineup. That's 3 out of 4 top D. Now, the interesting thing, is that I definitely think they're going to go with Owen Power because they are shopping Ristolainen. He is being shopped. So I think that this is a segue to Owen Power getting drafted to the Sabres. And I think what they're going to do is with Ristolainen, they're going to try to get some forwards in return if they do some type of Eichel trade. So I think that's what they're going to be. Kevin Adams is up to something like that. But yeah, definitely I'm going with Owen Power. Like you said, big boy, big shot. Interesting note, though, again, he didn't go to the World Juniors because he stayed back in Michigan. Okay. And again, these college players are a little bit, it'll be interesting if he jumps right into the league or does he stay back?
I'm already hearing that he's leaning more towards going back to Michigan for next year.
Okay, so there you go. So if he goes back to Michigan, Buffalo's not going to get that impact right away. Okay, and to me, the Sabres need that impact. They need that, they need to start gaining some ground here. Like, they're embarrassing right now where they're at, right? Just a little story here is that, back in the day when they were making like the conference finals and they had the black, white, and red jerseys. Santi, the tipster, that's definitely part of the lounge. and he's been on many podcasts. He had season tickets for the Sabres, and we went to, I'm telling you, App, so many of the home games there during those 2 years of the playoff runs. That place was rocking. It was a great building. We had so much fun. We used to go to the Anchor Bar for wings and beer, and then go over to the Sabres arena and just rock it. The place was just rocking. The Sabre fans are passionate. They deserve, never mind the Bills, but the Sabre fans deserve some good hockey. It's embarrassing. They got a nice barn. I just, you know what? You know what? It's great to go over the border and see the Sabres, or if you're seeing your team, the Devils, my team, the Penguins, or even the Leafs in Buffalo. Great barn. It's rocking, right?
I do it every year. I do
Yeah.
it every year. I watch the Devils when they're there every single year. And as the schedule came out today, I already started making plans to go there this year. You're right. It's a great barn. Those fans love their team. They
Yeah.
deserve something. Like it's. I feel really bad for them. I do. They're so passionate to see families at the rink, and
Yeah.
they throw all their support to their team. And something's got to give with these guys.
Yeah. And you go to, like, I'm just going to compare again the Leafs compared to the Sabres. When you go to a Sabre game, you have, like, from the grandmothers to the grandfathers, everybody's got Sabres gear on. These are like blue collar people that pay for their tickets, that want to go to a home game and see some results. So you know what? I hope Sabre fans, Owen Power, if you draft him, he works out. But I do think he's going to be a stud. The one thing, though, I have to say about Owen Power, too, is when you compare the NCAA players to guys that are playing in the O, right? They're not used to that heavy schedule, right? So even if, like, a guy like Dahlin, he struggled halfway through his rookie year because of the heavy schedule.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see, if Power goes back, he matures one more year, whatever, he comes back to the Sabres. Maybe that's better for him in terms of age. He can deal with a heavy schedule. But anybody that comes out of NCAA, they tend to struggle halfway through that year. So we'll see what happens with him. Number 2 pick.
Seattle Kraken. I think they're going with Matt Beniers, the center from Michigan as well. I think Michigan goes 1-2.
Right. So another NCAA player, Michigan, 2 back-to-back. Tell me a little bit about Beniers.
Well, he's been on the radar for a while. There's been a couple of years where these guys have been watching him, and when he was he got promoted throughout the U.S. developmental program to play with the 2001 class. So he played at the Worlds last year with Jack Hughes and with Trevor Zegras, like guys that are 2 years older than him as a 16-year-old. So he's a pretty good player. Like it takes him a few strides to get up to full speed, but he's a very powerful skater when he gets going. Yeah. His shot is just phenomenal, and he's got a quick release. His last 3 seasons, his shooting percentage was 18%, which is if you can go anywhere near that in the NHL, you're a 40 to 50 goal scorer.
Yeah,
his hockey sense as well is good. From when I saw him, I compare him to Jonathan Taves, the way Taves was in his draft year. He plays the exact same style of hockey. Mm-hmm. He's willing to go to both ends of the rink and hustles.
Mm-hmm. So, again, he's a centerman, correct? Right?
Yes.
He's a centerman. How tall is he at?
He's 6'2", 174.
Okay, so again, he's lanky in size. He probably has to beef up a little bit to play in the NHL. But again, when you start building these teams, like Seattle's starting to build here, right? Their back end is pretty good. Their goaltending's not too bad, pretty solid there. Now you want to start building through your centerman, right? Yeah. So I think that looks like a pretty decent pick there for the Kraken. Okay, 3rd pick. Where are we going here with this one?
Simon Edvinsson. He's plays in the Swedish league for Frölunda. Okay. He's another big boy, 6'5", 207 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, he played on 4 different teams last year. He actually went he was in the World Juniors as well. He got 4 points in 7 games with Sweden in the World Juniors. After playing 14 games in like their minor league, I guess it would be the OHL equivalent, he went up and played with the big boys, with the men. And his skating, he's very agile. He's an elite skater for his size. He's another one with a high hockey IQ. He's an offensive defenseman. He's got a little bit of lack in his game in the defensive zone, which for a defenseman isn't good. But he's going to be somewhat of a project. He might take time to develop, as most defensemen do in the NHL. You usually very rarely get a high impact defenseman your first year.
Yeah.
Straight off the draft.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I'm just trying to pull up my board here. Just give me a sec, because there was a player that. Just give me 1 sec here. Of course, the when I need something. Just give me 1 sec. All right. So yeah, here I got it. So, so you have Simone, right? Or Simon, right, for your third pick, correct? Yeah.
Evanson,
okay.
yeah.
Evanson, yeah. Okay. So one of the guys that I had maybe ahead of him, which is again when we're talking about who this draft is going to, and so who's getting the third pick again up?
Anaheim.
Yeah. So in regards to that, I think really I was thinking more of a winger for Anaheim. I was looking at Dylan Gunter there, sort of maybe swinging from fourth to third on my ranking, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think they have John Gibson on the back end. They have some younger D with Jamie Drysdale, a couple of younger guys back there. I think Drysdale is going to be a stud. O2 Marley's really, really good in the G back in the day. But give us some of your thoughts on Dylan Gunter there from the Edmonton Oil Kings.
He had 24 points in 12 games last year. He was the first overall pick in the WHL draft in 2018. So, and he finished second in rookie scoring that year. He had 59 points in 58 games his first year. He's another guy that's a good skater, got soft hands. He's a goal scorer. Very unselfish player as well. He knows he's a dual threat. He knows when to shoot the puck and when to pass the puck. He's not selfish at all. He's got a good two-way game, and his hockey IQ is very high as well. I think he's projected as a scoring winger with star potential. If he reaches his full potential, I think he can be a real star in the league.
Okay. Tibbetts is just saying, guys, keep up the great work. Got to go exhausted. My manager is a slave driver. We wonder who that manager is, but
no kidding.
So we're going to the fifth pick overall, and who does that go to up?
Fourth, Nick. What are you skipping? You skipping my team?
Am I? Is fourth pick?
What are you doing, bro?
I thought we were on the fifth pick. Okay, so the fourth.
You took Anaheim at 3 with Gunther.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so the fourth pick. That's the fourth pick. All right.
So
here we go.
Pick. It's going to the Devils, and I'm telling you, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Is Luke Hughes?
Yeah. I wonder why it's going to happen.
Jack's brother.
Right.
Jack's brother. He's the top-rated D-man from the U.S. National Development Program. He's a phenomenal skater. I've seen more tape on this guy than anybody else because watching the Devils broadcast last year, they've been talking about him. He's going to be the third brother drafted in the first round from that family.
Right.
He's actually a bigger boy and he's more physical than his brother Quinn was when he got drafted. He should be among the NHL's like top scoring defensemen when he after he's got a few years under his belt. But I think playing with his brother is going to really give him some positive. He's going to fit in real easily there since his brother knows the routine and everything there. I think he's a shoo-in to go to the Devils personally. He had 34 points in 38 games with that developmental program.
So is he an offensive defenseman or is he two-way? What is he?
He's more offensive.
Okay. All right. But again, what's his height like? What is his weight like?
He's 6'2", 182.
Okay. So he's bigger than the other two.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Bigger than the other two brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the fifth pick goes to
Oh, you're going back to me?
Yeah.
So the 5th pick's Columbus. I had Gunther going to Columbus.
Interesting.
So we already discussed him, but yeah,
Yeah.
I had Gunther going to Columbus.
Okay. So that leaves William Eklund. Where do you have him in your picks there right now?
I had actually Eklund dropping to 7th to San Jose.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so in your order, let's go in your order here. We'll go by what you have because you've done all this homework. So after the Devils, Columbus is up. Who you taking there?
So Columbus, I got William Eklund.
Okay, William Eklund.
Yeah.
And he plays in the Swedish league?
Yeah, yes, because he's a little bit smaller, so
Okay.
that's why I had him dropping. He got let me see, where's my notes on Eklund? He's a pretty dynamic offensive player. He's a fantastic skater,
Mhm.
but they're saying a lot. He's very offensive minded. His back checking game could be an issue until he learns that. If he learns that, he can turn out to be he reminds me of like a Marner or an Ehlers type hybrid player. If he
Mhm.
reaches his full potential, his size, it depends on his size. As long as he works at it, puts some weight on because he's only 176 pounds. So I think he's definitely got the potential to make me look like an idiot for dropping him down to 7th. But that's where I lined him up.
Okay. All right. And the next pick goes to?
The next pick. So the next team would have been Detroit at 6.
Mhm.
I had Detroit taking Brandt Clark. It's another brother of a Devils player in the system.
Yeah.
His brother Graham Clark is projected to possibly make the Devils this year. He's a good forward, but Brandt is a defenseman. He's 6'1",
Is
180
is
pounds.
is is uh is Momo on your lap again? Is that the
Yeah,
problem? You
yeah,
lost your headset?
yeah. So I'm getting too excited talking about the Devils.
Yeah.
No, so Brandt Clark's a defenseman. He's 6'1", 180. He left the Barrie. He was playing with Barrie Colts, and
Yeah.
when the OHL shut down, he decided to leave and go play in Slovakia with the men.
Mm.
So he was kind of at a crossroads in Barrie. He wasn't getting much ice time. He wasn't one of their go-to guys.
Yeah.
He was on their bottom pair, and then he left there and he just flourished. He got 15 points in 26 games in Slovakia and refound his game. And he's been touted as having the best shot of all the eligible D-men. He's got a hard rocket from the point.
Yeah.
He's very offensive minded. The only problem is he's kind of a riverboat gambler.
Mhm.
He really joins the rush, and really there's a lot of times where he's down low below the dots and he gets caught. Would be the only downside to him, but I think definitely power play. He'd be a definite power play quarterback for any team.
All right. Again, I've heard many good things about Brent Clark. I know a gentleman that coached against him, another guy that played in 02 with or I believe against Jamie Drysdale in the G. Next up, who's up next here?
Next up with the 8th pick, the Kings.
Yeah.
I have Kent Johnson, another Michigan boy, centerman, 6'1", 165 pounds. He's an above-average skater. I felt once you get to pick 7 through 10,
Yeah.
I think Owen Power is definitely number 1. I think 2 through 6 are anybody's gamble. They're similar players. They're very good. I think once you get to 7, it starts becoming a little bit tapers off a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have Johnson going. He's above average skater. He's got good footwork and he's a good puck handler. He has all the tools. His shots. He's got a good slap shot, a good wrist shot, a good backhander. He has it all, and his hockey IQ is high as well. He's been compared to Artemi Panarin, projected scoring winger. If he reaches his potential, again, all these guys are if they reach their potential.
Yeah, for sure. And the next pick goes to?
Okay, the next pick is the Canucks.
The Canucks. The crazy Canucks. So we got a couple picks left, right? We're at 9 and 10 here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 9, I got Cole Sillinger going to Vancouver.
Okay.
He's a left winger, 6 feet, 197 pounds. He went to go play in the U.S. Hockey League after the WHL got shut down.
Mhm.
He played for Medicine Hat. So he played for Medicine Hat. He went to to the USHL just to get some hockey. He got 46 points in 31 games there. It's a lesser league than the WHL. However, he did show well.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually Mike Sillinger's son that used to play in the NHL.
Yeah.
And the knock on him is his skating. He looks very unorthodox.
Mm.
His speed is average, but he looks weird skating. He's got a very upright stance and look like he's all clunky on his legs and stuff like that.
But he produces points though.
Yeah, he does. He's right now they're projecting to be probably second line player.
Okay.
That's what the ceiling is. That's what I'm thinking. But he's also got a high hockey sense.
All right. So and we're at number 10 now.
And at 10, who is the Ottawa Senators? I have them taking Mason McTavish.
Okay.
6'1", 207-pound centerman. He got 22 points combined in 20 games in the Swiss League and the World Juniors last year. He was the 5th overall pick in the OHL draft when he entered the OHL draft. He's another guy that's a strong skater. Most of these guys are strong skaters, which gives them an advantage. He's projected to be like a second-line two-way player. So the same, very smart player. He can play the penalty kill. He's physical, and he's good. He's also multifaceted, scoring and setting up. Interesting.
So just to give you the 2021 NHL Draft Prospect Rankings Final Edition from Sportsnet, and this is Sammy Cosentino from Sportsnet. This is the final edition. So what we're going to do is we're going to have fun with this next week with Ops List, where he projected these guys to go, and we compare it to how the draft happens last night. But this is the final edition here from Sportsnet, Sammy Cos. Owen Power, number 1. Matthew Beniers, number 2. Number 3, Simone Edvidson. Number 4, Dylan Gunter. Number 5, William Eklund. Number 6, Luke Hughes. Number 7, Brant Clark. Number 8, Mason McTavish. Number 9, Kent Johnson or Johnson from Michigan again. Yep. Interesting. And number 10, Cole Sillinger. So there are a few flips and flops compared to your list, which I love because, again, that's what this is all about. We're predicting, we're making, different drafts. We're doing different stuff here in the Hockey Lounge. We want to compare ourselves, see how these things go tomorrow night. The interesting thing about this list up, when you look at it, you have 3 guys from Michigan.
Yep.
Okay. 3 guys. So they're doing something right in Michigan.
Yep.
It's NCAA schools. The one thing that I noticed is there are only 2 players from the OHL in the top 10, with Brant Clark and Mason McTavish. Clark is with the Barrie Colts, and McTavish is with the Peterborough Petes. Yep. Let me ask you something. Is this the change of the order here, in the pecking order of where these guys are getting selected?
I don't think so. I just think it's been such a strange year with everybody playing half a year, and there's small sample sizes for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Out of these projected 10, 5 could be utter flops.
Right.
Like we don't know, and there could be a guy that's chosen 100th overall that ends up leading the league in scoring in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way this year is that everybody's all over the place. So there was really it probably was very hard for them to compare league to league. Because like you said, you got 3 from Michigan in the Michigan ranks, but then you've got 2 from Sweden, you got 2 from the OHL. They're all over the place this year. So I just think it's a byproduct of COVID, of what happened. No full season. It's just, I think everything's all over the place. I think this is the one draft that's a lottery, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it was last week's show. The OHL draft this year, they called it the blind draft. So, it's a different year, pandemic year. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Again, anytime there's something to do with hockey, the lounge is on it. We'll be watching. We'll be taking notes. We'll be getting ready for our show next week, Free Agent Frenzy. And then it's going to be, like I said, the next 72 hours, the draft, transactions, trades, teams getting rid of salary to build up for the free agent on Wednesday, July 28th. Any final thoughts before we call it a night in the lounge tonight?
It's been a fun week so far. I can't wait to see what tomorrow night holds.
Yeah. I'm wondering if App has his Luke Hughes jersey already printed and ready to go and ready to present Luke his New Jersey Devil jersey. So thank you for watching tonight. It's been great. Again, reminder, we will be going live next Wednesday, July 28th, 9 p.m. for Free Agent Frenzy. It's going to be a fun night. If something does develop big in the hockey world, we will go live. We'll get to you. It's been great this week being on live 3 times. Monday, we had Luca Caputi, and then my wingman Apple joined me for the last 2 podcasts. Have a great night. Enjoy the draft tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Before I go again, thank you to Side Launch Brewing Company in Collingwood, supplying some free beverages to the lounge. We always enjoy free beverages here in the Hockey Lounge app. Have a great night. We will talk soon. Good night to everybody. Stay safe.